The Cardinal-Ram game is in our crosshairs this hour. I don't know if you saw it, if you watched it, maybe not. Jared Goff, the much maligned Jared Goff, came out. He passed and ran for a touchdown, and the Rams end up beating the Cardinals by double digits, beat them by 10. A lot of people scratched their head at that line. They said, why are the Rams favored in Arizona? It makes no sense. Well, never question the odds gods. The Rams win it 38-28, so Los Angeles bounces back from that embarrassing home loss to the backup quarterback of the Arizona 49ers last week. Sean McVay's team improving to 8-4 on the year, and they move on up the NFC standings as the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams go back and forth. More on the Rams later, but the better story here is in the losing locker room. Arizona, it's called like it is here. They play like a bunch of deadbeats on defense and offense. And so now you look at it, and Kyler Murray, how's that MVP campaign going for Kyler Murray? Is that picking up steam here? That grassroots movement to get Kyler Murray the MVP? How's that going? Is that going well? No, it's not going that well. Another cringe-worthy performance. Kyler Murray held in check by a stout Ram defense, less than 200 yards passing, less than 20 yards rushing. P.U. What stinks? Oh, it's Kyler. But it's a little small smell, so it's okay. All right, let's hear from the key participants here. How about the head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, who cannot figure out Sean McVay. These two, when they've gone up against each other, Sean McVay has coached circles around Cliff Kingsbury. But here's Kingsbury, who points out that the Arizona offense not doing the job.
Offensively, obviously, in the first half, couldn't get in the rhythm. I got to give them credit. Thought they had a good plan and executed it well. We couldn't get anything going and kept our defense on the field a lot of plays there. And I think as the game went on, it wore on those guys, which is tough. We have to be better, more efficient offensively, and not keep those guys on the field so much.
Yeah, sounds like he just smoked a carton of cigarettes before he put the mic on. All right, here's another one from Cliff Kingsbury, who points out that Kyler is trying to find a positive in a crap performance by his quarterback, so he uses some adjectives to describe Kyler Murray.
He continued to play hard and compete, when things were going bad. I thought he came back in the second half, continued to give us a chance, kept us in it there. Obviously, it got out of control there late, but he kept his poise, kept his composure, and about as tough a day as you can have there in the first half. So I thought that was a step for him in the right direction.
Yes, I agree. Give me more, Kyler. Every week I want you to play like this with poise and composure and throwing bounce passes. That's what I would like to see. Maybe you can play for the Suns because you've mastered the bounce pass. Here's more from Cliff Kingsbury. Actually, let's go to Kyler Murray. How about we go to Kyler Murray himself here? Here's Kyler, who did not respond to my tough love. He could not handle the tough love we gave him on the radio. Here's Kyler pointing out the Cardinals offense is done. They can't get it done anymore. They're garbage.
We kind of hit a wall. We just, as far as offensively, I think that first half of the season we were, it was kind of effortless. We were moving the ball, having fun, playing fast and stuff like that. And now we just kind of, when you face a little bit of adversity, how we react, how we adjust, which we ended up doing, but it was just a little too late. We've been in those games, and I think it's just we just got to find a way to execute, when we have to. We haven't done that. I think that's honestly the difference. I mean, in the NFL, there's going to be one-score games, and whoever usually finds a way to make that one play when it's crucial, when it's crunch time, they usually win the game.
Yeah, well, that we agree on, that bad teams lose close games, good teams win close games. So, again, less than 200 yards passing, less than 20 yards rushing for Kyler Murray, completely manhandled by the grown-ups for the Los Angeles Rams. So let us discuss the question, has the NFL figured out Kyler Murray? And I've got the fly swatter, YouTube, and the trap door. And we will combine all of these things together. Now, to lead off with, for a while, Kyler Murray was ambushing some teams. He was putting up some stats, some impressive stats. But we knew that was like you'd see out in the desert, a mirage, right? You drive out in the desert there, and you think you're seeing a bunch of water, and you're not. It's not real. is what I'm trying to say. And I certainly believed that at the time, and I've seen no evidence to push back against that. Now, because of Kyler Murray's size, he is limited. He's fun sized. He's limited. If you're intellectually honest with yourself, you know this. The reason we've never had a quarterback the size of Kyler Murray is because they're not going to be effective over the long term. Kyler Murray is the size of a grasshopper playing quarterback, right? Who would choose that? NFL teams have finally, it took them a little while, but they finally started doing what you have to do against a pint-sized quarterback. Because of his height, Kyler Murray can be bottled up if you're disciplined. You got to treat this like rush hour. You've got to create gridlock. And if you're able to force Kyler Murray to beat you with his arm, he will not do it. He simply will not do it, period, hard stop. Take away the ground game. Take away his ability to pick up first downs and move the chains and have to do it with his arm. And then the other thing you do here is you force Kyler Murray to throw over the middle of the defense. Now, normally you wouldn't want a quarterback to throw over the middle of your defense. That would be bad. But in this case, you want little Kyler to throw it right down Broadway, being vertically challenged when throwing over the top of the defense. The reason this is a problem, and there's no way around it for Kyler, there's no simple fix here other than getting his legs extended, is the defensive lineman can easily knock down Alligator Arms Murray's passes. It's like swatting away flies with a fly swatter, right? And we've seen it more and more as the games have gone on here, that defenses have finally wised up. They've gone from playing tiddlywinks against Kyler. Now they're playing three-dimensional chess. They're forcing him more and more to throw over the middle. And those passes, he can't get them high enough over the lineman. It's not his fault. He's a very small human being. He's a very small human being. And the defenses have finally started to do this. Now, not everyone's capable of doing it. I wonder what took them so long. Now, just to prove I'm not blowing smoke here, let's go to the numbers. The last 4 weeks, Arizona is 1-3 and really deserved to be 0-4. The only win was a Hail Mary against the Bills. That was what's known as a fluke. Fluke City is what that is. And Kyler Murray, over the last 4 games, 25% of an NFL season, 25%. Little Kyler has averaged 5.8 yards per attempt. He's got a passer rating of 85.3 over the last 4 weeks. You know what that is? That is below replacement level performance by your quarterback. We've said this and we've preached this for a long time, that average in the NFL for a quarterback is 7 yards per attempt. 7 yards per attempt is average. That's the baseline. And in this game against the Rams, Kyler Murray averaged 4.4 yards per attempt. But even that stat is misleading because when you peel back the onion, there was that 59-yard touchdown in the first quarter that was a blown coverage by the Rams secondary. You take that play away, which was a blown coverage, the rest of the game on all the other pass attempts for Kyler Murray, you know how many yards he averaged per pass attempt? 3! That's it! The Cardinals offense had just 232 yards. Now, the Rams are good. They are a good defensive team. But you are judged by what you do against the top teams on the other side. And Kyler Murray gets an F. He failed. He was a miserable failure against that Ram defense. You test yourself. That's a litmus test. He didn't pass. He did not pass. Now, furthermore, so Kyler Murray was prematurely anointed a mega star by the NFL media establishment. We were scratching our head. We were like, why is this? It doesn't make any sense. They worked overtime to build up the legend, the myth, the fairy tale, the Oompa Loompa, Kyler Murray. Myth-making, branding, the imaging, all of that. And everyone wants to be the first to say, this is the next star, and I've told you first, next superstar. The term for this is putting the cart before the horse. And you look at Kyler Murray, he's got all the highlights. Oh, my God, he's got the highlights. What about the highlights, man? What about the highlights? Okay, so he's like a YouTube trick shot star. He's got all the highlights, but is there any real substance? Because without the legs, without the ability to run the ball, he is completely flummoxed, Kyler Murray. What is my evidence? The Rams' championship defense holding him to 15 yards on the ground and Arizona lost by double digits at home. And that is standard operating procedure. That is not an outlier. There have been 11 games in Kyler Murray's brief NFL career where he has been held to 30 yards or less, and he has won one. 1-9-1. That's a 136 winning percentage. That's terrible. That is a failure. It's an abject failure, Kyler Murray, when he is boxed up and he has to win games with his arm. That is a referendum on Kyler, and we talked about him being a Coney Island sideshow last week. Well, that's the kind of stat that would lead you to believe that to be true. All right, last thing here. So Arizona is now on the outside looking in. They're not hanging out with the cool kids. They're on the outside. They're not a playoff team. The trap door has opened up, and the Cardinals have fallen into the lion's den. And in this case, they've fallen into a cactus. Arizona has lost 4 of their last 5. And the Vikings, the lowly Vikings, who got off to a 1-5 start this season, have been able to catapult up, and they are now in the final NFC playoff spot. Now, it's not done yet. Arizona has soft serve on the schedule. They have a lot of soft serve still to come. Games at the Giants. The Giants still coming off a big win against the Seattle Seahawks, and that defense playing with some confidence right now. The Eagles, 49ers, and Rams still to come. So, and then they play the Giants, the Minnesota Vikings. They have to play the Saints and the Bucs on the road, with the Lions and Bears at home. So, schedule advantage, you say, well, Arizona's still going to make the playoffs. But that's why they play the games. That's why they play the game. Now, meanwhile, I would like to regale you with some hot Ram talk, because the Los Angeles Rams, you talk about coaching. Sean McVay came out and read the riot act on Jared Goff. You suck, you're a bum. That's essentially what he said. He implied all of those things, and Jared Goff came out there and said, you know what, coach, you're right. I have been terrible, and he performed. He outplayed Kyler Murray, wasn't even close, 351 yards. He completed almost 80% of his passes. Jared Goff completed 78.7% of his passes. The Arizona Cardinal defense should have to run gassers for the next month after that performance. And Goff responded. And the Rams didn't get their running game going until later in the game. They didn't really have much of anything going on the ground game. But they win. They're 8-4 now and 34-0 under Sean McVay when leading at halftime.
Ram it all day and ram it all night.
So the Rams now, they've won 3 of 4, and they get the Patriots, which you think the Rams will win that game, but we know that Sean McVay worships at the altar of Bill Belichick. So that's not a guarantee. But then you got the Jets, which is a guarantee. At Seattle, hey, if the Seahawks lose to Colt McCoy, they can certainly lose again to Jared Goff, and then they close it out with the little guy, the little fella, Kyler Murray at the end. So the Rams can win the NFC. I have said this all along, and I've seen no reason to go against this, that the Rams can win the NFC this year. It is wide open. They've got the championship defense, a top 5 defense, top 2 defense in many categories, number 1 in some categories. They got to get the special teams. They gave Arizona a short field. There was a muffed punt that set up Arizona for one of their scores in this game. So that's an issue, but this kicker they got has been pretty good. They've cycled through a million different kickers. So they finally found one that's decent. And as long as the Rams can get into a position where the defense is the bell cow and they are not depending on Jared Goff. If you need Jared Goff to matriculate the ball down the field in the fourth quarter of a game to win, you are El Scrudo. It is over for you.